I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm extremely good now that I'm talking to you.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for taking the time to speak with me. I appreciate it, and I was able
Of
to
course.
watch the film yesterday and enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to chatting with you. So thank you again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I wanted to get started asking about going into the sequel, what it was like working with the actors who came back from the first film and really continuing to develop their characters for this new film. What was that process like of really just working together on set to really further develop their like emotional arcs in the film?
Well, this was a very unusual process because we actually shot three chapters of the movie all at once. So we had a script that was compared to a normal script that is about 95 pages, we had a 273-page script, and we shot all three movies in one go, 53 days. So we basically had a 4.5 hour movie, which we then broke up into three chapters. So it was a very unusual process, and the challenge was to keep it straight every day, every hour. What chapter are we shooting now? And so what's the emotional state of our final girl? What's the makeup stage of blood and gore on her and other characters? And how are we shooting this? And how are we telling the story? And where are we dramatically in the story? That was a challenge. The privilege was that instead of doing it like usual, where you make a movie and then if it's successful, you maybe get a sequel a couple of years later, and you have to bring everybody back, and everybody's changed, and their hair is different, and their thinking is different, and everything is different. Um, the privilege was to be able to shoot it in all in one go, so everybody's concentration and emotional state is right there, and 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 we are able to tell a story where, okay, when the first movie ends, and we propose a question of like, okay, what if a person didn't get murdered but actually survived? What happens next day? And that's where we start the next movie, the chapter 2, and then we get to explore her psychological development and her arc in terms of where she goes as a victim, and also explore our strangers a little more.
Speaking also of like the hair and makeup and the costumes and going into having more like blood, like you mentioned, and just creating the looks as you go further into the second film. What was that experience like during shooting to really map out also like just the changes in looks and costumes overall as well?
That was a big part of it. We literally map out is the right word, because we had maps, we had emotional maps, we had makeup maps, we have injury maps, we have clothing maps. She changes her outfit a couple of times in these movies, and she starts in a hospital gown in the second chapter, and then at some point she's able to gather some other clothes and change what she's wearing because she's freezing because she's in the middle of the forest.
Mhm.
So and an action chart and suspense chart, in terms of like how we develop not only the characters but the rhythm of the movie and the suspense and where the action beats are, so that we could really feel like the second movie is bigger than the first one. Still same random nature of these crimes, but a bigger canvas.
With the series taking place partially, like especially the first film in the cabin and then moving into the forest and the hospital, and what has the location process been like in finding where you were going to shoot and actually being on location and a lot of scenes outside as well, and really building that into the characters' arcs as well. How did the location help with that?
They really did, and the story is supposed to take place in Oregon, but we shot it in Slovakia, in Bratislava, because they really had a fantastic landscape and topography with mountains and with this really dense forest. and some great architecture, some great interiors, and that we built some, but used a lot of real locations as well. And that to me really lent itself to doing something that looks a little different from movies that people have seen before, and like I said, really being able to expand it from a home invasion to a town invasion, and really make this town that we established in the first movie, but now we explore it much more, and we set up the mystery of anybody could be a stranger. It could be your family member, could be your colleague, could be a person who looks at you in a funny way on the street. You never know.
And besides the visuals, while you were editing this chapter in particular, how did the score and the music really help build the tension and emotions throughout editing as well?
Good point. In any movie, I think the sound effects and the score are super important, but particularly in a horror film, they can change an entire scene, and I wanted to really get across the sounds of nature when she's battling through very, very tough circumstances in the forest, or whether she's in the hospital or wherever she is, to really make that environment a character through very careful sound design, and then also creating a music that is, for this particular movie and these movies, I felt like the music needed to be more atmospheric than something traditional that we maybe hear in most movies, where it's orchestral and very melodic. I looked for something that almost was like an extension of the sound effects, and created atmosphere more than a melody.
Well, thank you very much again for taking the time to speak with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you, Karen. It was
You're
nice talking.
welcome. You too. Thank
Bye.
you.
You're safe. I promise.
This world is infected by evil. And its people are capable of such madness. They may seem innocent, but do not be deceived by the masks they wear.
Is Tamara here?